We are live.
Live.
Okay.
Welcome, brothers.
Welcome back.
Hermanos de la Hoja.
Yeah.
Welcome back. It's been over 3 weeks.
It's mine for a while.
I think the last one was my birthday. So thank you for all the birthday messages, by the way. We had a good one. We had something to eat. We had a lovely bottle of wine.
It was really good.
Yeah, and then we and then we watched Silence by Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
While we had some cheeky living room cigars.
Yeah.
I had the Plasencia Alma de Fuerte Robusto, and you had the Lancero, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Oscar Valladares leaf.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful blend.
Nice thin ring gauge.
Yep.
Easy smoker. Very, very flavourful.
Very chocolatey.
Yeah, really good. That Maduro wrap is just all kinds of amazing.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful blend.
And just great construction right the way throughout.
Yeah.
Really good.
Excellent. So, yeah, welcome back to another one.
Yeah.
Back in the Green Dragon.
Yeah.
And
Making some room notes.
yeah, making room notes, burning leaf.
What have you got in the bowl, bro?
I'm smoking Old Joe Krantz, which
Yes.
I did a community post earlier and I mentioned how I was warming up with the Old Joe Krantz.
Yeah.
And then I put the bowl down
Yeah.
to collect this Pedro Jimenez sherry that we're going to be drinking tonight.
Yeah.
Sherry instead of the usual bourbon.
Yeah.
And during that, I picked up one of my San Andres cigars while I was for a road stick. And now I'm going to finish off the Old Joe Krantz in the GQ Merlot Briar, which has been caking up like a bakery lately. So much so that in fact that a good piece of it fell off.
Oh, really?
Looked like one of those like global warming propaganda videos. And
You are here.
and I had to scrape it back.
No.
You know, so that to the point that the cavity was very slim,
Yeah.
and it's building back up again. So, what about you, man? Something.
Well, I'll go into what I'm smoking shortly. So I've got the Falcon on with a new bowl. I'll go into the bowl in a minute. But in there I've got some what's left of the 4th generation 1931 flake from Eric Stockerby.
Yeah.
It's the Eric Peters blend.
Right. The 1931 flake, beautiful blend. The camping blend.
That's right. That's it. So very sweet Virginias, really nice and lemony and honey, citrusy, but not overpowering. It's chock full of burley, and they really come through after maybe that first quarter of the smoke.
Yeah.
I find those burley start to really kick in.
Burley's the main player in that blend,
and it's great.
Yeah. And since smoking the Cornell and Deal's Exhausted Rooster, for me it reminded me a lot of that very raisiny, and figgy and cinnamony kind of.
But without the big Perique hit.
Yeah, without the Perique. Yeah, exactly. Well, I've really been enjoying the Perique lately. So, like I said, I've got the Old Joe Krantz loaded up in here, but it's less than half a bowl. So I've preloaded a bowl of the Burley Flake 1, and in the past I've compared these two a lot, but having smoked them side by side a bit more, I still say they're very similar, but the Perique is much more forward in the Old Joe Krantz. You get it straight away. You get it straight off the light, and it's more. This has got more rough edges to it. Not a criticism.
I find the Burley Flake's a developer.
Yeah.
That Perique comes in at like the last third.
Yeah.
Really.
The Burley Flake has got. I think it showcases the Burley a lot more, which makes sense. It's got those sour American Burley kind of notes, which are not unpleasantly sour. Nice, chocolatey. This has got a touch of the chocolate, but it's like those chocolate bars of chili, the spicy Perique. So both great smokes in their own right. This is a bit of a quicker burner. So
I found that like a kind of a Burley upgrade on the Haunted Bookshop.
Yeah, definitely. The darks over the whites, definitely. Every day. So we've got a couple of topics we wanted to discuss.
Yeah.
We've got a bit of a review on the new hardware.
Yeah.
We want to go into pipe materials.
Yeah.
And the different properties.
Yeah.
And pros and cons of each one.
Yeah.
And we also want to talk about the theme that we're going to be moving into for next month.
Yeah, we're nearly there, aren't we?
Yes, the end of the month.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a special time of year.
Yeah. So you guys call it fall.
Yeah.
It's autumn for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, same rules apply.
Autumn is here.
Definitely.
Autumn
yeah,
is here.
Definitely.
So autumn is always very noticeable when it hits.
Yeah.
When it hits here, because there's a certain quality to the air that's just unmistakably autumn.
I tend to find the older I get, like I smell the seasons coming.
You can
more.
smell it.
Yeah.
You can
in autumn
smell it.
especially.
Yeah.
A guy that we follow, he's a monastic, and you've been to his
Right.
to his ski, haven't you, Father Philip? Yeah. And he's originally from Afghanistan, I think.
He grew up in Afghanistan. I'm not sure if he was born
from an
there.
English family.
Right, but he certainly spent his childhood there.
Yeah, and he kind of rightly, because he's travelled quite a lot, and he said, England's
Africa,
a very
South America.
Yeah, and he said that England's a very lush, verdant kind of country. But the colours can be quite. So when you kind of gone somewhere else, the colours are quite like muted.
Yeah.
So when you get a season like autumn, when the colours are really vibrant, I mean, Harry and I live in the Peak District, and it is really lush. Loads of broadleaf, loads of old English trees, old English variety trees, oaks and sycamore, chestnut. And when those guys start turning, the leaves, it's great, and it really is the most vibrant season for us. So
it's very vibrant, but at the same time,
and the weather's minging.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you do get those lovely autumn days where there's no rain or very little rain, but the air is crisp.
Yeah.
There's a moisture to the air, and a special kind of English coldness.
To the air. That's right.
It's not unpleasant.
No, it's good.
And it feels very good, and it also feels very nice to come in after.
Yeah, it does. It does. But you've been out on a walk.
At the same time as it being a very vibrant season, colourfully, autumn is. It's a season of death in a way.
Yeah.
It's the death of the year.
Yeah. For sure.
You might think winter is the death of the year, but winter
gone.
Winter is
sleeping at that point.
Is in the tomb.
Yeah.
To use a Christian. Kind of a terminology. Winter's in the tomb, and obviously that's why we have Christmas, because that's when the sun is reborn. Also, the Son of God is born.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, it's my favourite time of year, easily. Easily.
Yeah, we've got some cool, like very English things that kind of go off in autumn as well. So like we've got the like bonfire night, where we sort of commemorate the almost blowing up the Houses of Parliament. They were nearly there. There's a kind of a gag that goes around, and see it quite often. People say, "Well, the last person to enter the House of Parliament with good intentions was Guy Fawkes, who was trying to blow it up." Or honest intentions, I should say, not good intentions, but honest intentions.
A beloved Italian.
Yeah, Maron. So look at it. Autumn coming up, but really for us, for the movie season, we're going all in on horror.
It's Spooktober.
It is.
It's going to be Spooktober.
Yeah, we're doing it all month.
Yeah, it's my daughter's birthday month as well, and she's named for the night, so she's a very spooky kind of girl. She loves ghosts. Well, both of my kids do actually. Loves the ghosts. Loves the Halloween season. We've already decorated the house for Halloween. Samhain, as it's originally the Celtic holiday. All Hallows Eve.
All Hallows Eve. That's it, and then All Saints Day. We've got Highland Duncan on. Great to see you,
Duncan,
fella.
yes, thank you for joining
us.
us.
Great to see you. So yeah, it's a big month for us. So we're gonna start. So we've got like a little appetizer, a little whistle wetter to get started tonight. So I thought that'd be good.
Yeah.
And then in terms of sort of content, so we're going to go through and review some more films. It'd be good to kind of go into silence maybe a little bit today.
Yeah.
Seeing as we didn't get to, we watched it last
That's
time.
a good call.
My first watch.
That's a good call.
But we could have a little chat about that. I have been starting some Lovecraft for you East Coasters. He was a card, wasn't he?
Yeah. Bit of a card.
Bit of a one.
Curmudgeonly.
Yeah.
Incorrigible.
Yeah. Great writer. Absolutely.
Great writer.
Intense. Insane.
Did you know that he started off writing like soppy love stories?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How wild is that?
Yeah. They were almost like chick lit, weren't they? like Mills and Boom type.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
My heaving bosom.
Yeah. Fabio stuff.
Yeah. So that'd be good to maybe have a little look at that, and then we're thinking maybe like the Giallos. We're in a couple of Giallo films throughout.
Argento, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Get back into that Italian stuff, yeah.
For sure. So, as promised, I had a purchase last month at payday. You tipped me off about it before. You said, "Oh, bro, Meerschaum bowls for the Falcon." And now Meerschaum, Falcon don't make their own Meerschaum bowls, but the guys from GQ have got working with, it wasn't Star, it was another Meerschaum producer, to effectively have them made up. Bless you.
Thank you.
You've got another, bless you.
It's not even snuffed yet.
No, come on. Soon put those flames out. So they don't make them, but they must have had a couple made up, had some samples, tried them out, and they came up with a whole line of these things, but made out of Meerschaum. Pure, good quality block Meerschaum. I've gone for one that's quite a nice, straightforward, simple kind of design.
Just to interrupt for a minute, shall we quickly go into the difference, the quality of Meerschaum?
Let's do that. Yeah. So, so first of all, like, the feel in the hand is quite. It was very different to what I expected. I expected it to be like clay. Yeah. It isn't. It's almost kind of, it's because of the polished effect on the rustication. It's polished on the outside, and it feels like plastic.
Yeah.
It felt really cheap and nasty. I'm like, what's this? And it was only when I packed the first bowl and kicked it off, and I started to notice the difference. So this material dumps heat out of the bowl. It's a really, really good heat sink. So two good things with that. You get good feedback on your cadence.
Right.
And I'm a bit of a chugger. So this will tell me straight away, need to back your cadence off.
Yeah.
It's getting too hot. But it will look after it for you. Now already, because of the metal stem and the humidome, it's already cool.
Yeah.
It's already dry. But what this does is like it's like another safeguard.
Yeah.
I've never had such a cool smoke as I've had in this. It's phenomenal. It really, really is. So good things about it. Performance is fantastic. Pricey.
Yeah.
This is about as cheap as I'm ever going to get a Meerschaum smoke, because this was 40 quid, so that's about $50 maybe not quite.
Yeah,
45.
Less.
Yeah, 45 to $48. But this is like compared to 180, 200 pounds for a Meerschaum pipe, for a Star Meerschaum upwards. That's the baseline. You're not looking at anything above that.
Yeah.
Nice shapes, nice kind of, because they make these into like amazing carvings, don't they? Like busts and stuff. You get like Beethoven or so Star Wars stuff and all sorts of wacky things.
Yeah, you can get all kinds. Like I've seen lions. I've seen like an eagle's claw that cups the ball.
Yeah.
Like you said, I've seen Darth Vader, stormtroopers.
Yeah.
A common one is the Arab or the Turk. It's like a turbaned Arab with the beard and everything. I asked about that, and apparently it's to do with sort of at the time that Meerschaum was becoming popular, the West was. Orientalism was quite popular. There was a bit of a fascination with the Near East, the Middle East, stuff like that. So, and obviously there's the link between Latakia, Syria, and Latakia, tobacco. I'm sure that all plays into it. So we're into pipe materials now, by the way, in case you haven't guessed. So, what Meerschaum is it's I believe, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but it's old seashells.
Right.
Certain kind of old seashells that over time has been compressed into a soft kind of a stone.
Quite petrified.
Yeah. And speaking of quality of Meerschaum, you will get it in block Meerschaum, which is what you mentioned, and you'll get it in, I believe it's called pressed Meerschaum. So block Meerschaum is where it's mainly coming from Turkey, I believe. Mainly coming from Turkey, parts of Greece. They will take a block of meerschaum, like you would take a block of briar. I believe it's called an ebochon, and then carve the bowl out of that block.
Yeah.
Whereas the pressed meerschaum, it's kind of like the difference between lumpwood charcoal and charcoal briquette.
Yeah.
So a charcoal briquette is like the compressed powder, and I believe that's the same with the. Thank you. I believe that's the same with the pressed meerschaum. So that's considered to be of a lesser quality than the block meerschaum. Thank you. Personally, I've smoked neither. I've never smoked a meerschaum, so I can't say. But the block is considered to be the superior quality. I saw.
Good health, bro.
Oh, it's like drinking.
It's been a while.
Like drinking raisins.
It's a deep burn.
Yeah, it's a good burn. But yeah, so another thing that I'm told, and maybe you can tell me, I don't know what you've smoked in that so far, but meerschaum really is, it's got a cob kind of quality.
Oh, 100%.
In the sense that it brings out toppings and casings very cleanly.
It's as clean as a whistle.
Yeah.
So I sent you a message when I fired the first bowl, and what I said to you was that this material looks after hot burning tobaccos like the Virginias really, really well.
Right.
I've never smoked Virginias as cleanly and as sweetly and cool as I have in a meerschaum pipe. It's a great experience, and because of that, because of how clean it is, and there's no I don't think you get ghosting through a meerschaum either.
No, it just doesn't ghost. So I'm told.
Right. So it's a very transparent smoke. You're not going to get any ghosting effects. So for blends that traditionally I've kind of struggled to pick up casing notes, like you said, or even just the complexity of some of the base, in the Burleys or in the Periques. This really just lets it sing. It's great.
Yeah, because I have to be, for me to smoke a straight Virginia in a standard briar, I have to be feeling brave. You know?
Oh yeah. So there's no bite. That's
right.
the thing here. Not only does it really look after the the casings and the toppings, but it looks after the temperature as well.
Yeah. Anything else to say about the meerschaum?
Just that. I'm a convert, and I'm going to find the money to get another one.
Yeah, me too. In the future, I would love to get a block meerschaum pipe.
Yeah.
I suppose, just to mention the cons, fragile.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
More so than the briar, certainly.
And often, I've seen that when you, especially pipes that like kind of sort of 300 quid upwards, so we're talking in the region of like sort of $360, $400 pipes, they come with wooden cases because of that.
Right, yeah.
Most of the ones I've seen have been wooden cases.
Yeah, traditionally the meerschaums come in like a leather bound wooden case with a cushion lined, yeah. And pricey, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess we say pricey.
Yeah, that's right.
So, to go on the next one, this is one that I had experience with first off, pear wood and hardwoods in general.
Yeah.
So I haven't smoked any of the hardwoods other than pear, but I know that pear is more common in Eastern Europe, Poland, the Ukraine, places like that. And apparently the reason being is that in war, so they're referred to apparently as war pipes.
Right.
In times when, like the Second World War, briar was hard to come by. It's a Mediterranean shrub, right?
Yeah.
So,
Ottoman wars as well, I guess.
I imagine, yeah. But probably the briar pipe is fairly new, so I think unless we, if we talk about World War One, maybe. But prior to that, I don't think we're talking about. They're probably smoking clay pipes in the Ottoman Empire. But so it's more traditional over there as opposed to the briar. So I got a pear pipe it was the second pipe that I ever bought.
Yeah.
I've not done a lot of research into pipes. I didn't realise by this point that Briar was the gold standard. You know what I mean? So basically, I was looking for pipes. I wanted a church warden because Lord of the Rings, and I found a site, and it was Bollandis. Now, Bollandis is a Polish maker.
Polish, yeah.
Apparently, the guy who makes Bollandis is he was associated with Mr. Brog, which is another quite well-known Polish pipe maker that makes pear pipes as well as Briars.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the first I bought. I think I paid 15 quid for it.
That's nothing.
It's not much. So the funny thing, I go on the Reddit pipe forum, and someone posted a picture of a couple of pear pipes, and I was like, "What do you think about the pear pipes?" I got one, didn't think it was too bad, but I don't really smoke it anymore since I got Briars. And the guy was like, "Oh, I'm actually the dude that makes these for Bollandis." I was like, "Ooh, cringe,
Shots fired."
But anyway, so the pear doesn't have as lovely a grain as Briar. So when you get a nice smooth Briar pipe, the grain is very beautiful, even in a lower grade Briar.
Yeah, and it's tight as well. You know, it's
Yeah.
very, very hard.
Yeah. So there's an aesthetic trade-off. Also, pear heats up a lot
I
quicker.
was going to say all about performance.
Yeah, it heats up a lot quicker. So even when you're being careful,
Yeah.
find that it heats up a bit, and you might want to put it down for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And I find that it lends a certain flavour of its own.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't think that the flavours, the casings come through as cleanly as they would in a Briar or certainly a Cobb.
Or if that's to do with some like more open grain, that it takes on some of that.
Yeah, kind of absorbs it before it gets to you. Maybe.
There's something to that.
So, when it comes to pear woods and hardwoods, because I know that silver birch pipes are something that you can get hold of.
Yeah.
I know that Missouri Meerschaum makes a, I believe it's cherry wood or maple wood hardwood pipe. Yeah, they run for about £5.
Huh.
Yeah, so I know you can get those, but for me, and I'm not knocking them, I would just say that for the price that you can get a Cobb, there's really no reason to get a pear wood or a hardwood. You know, in my opinion.
Good place to segue into. In fact, before we do, we'll talk about Cobbs in a sec. So Highland Duncan says he's taking a step into the artisan field. Ooh, it's getting towards Christmas, isn't it? He's gone to commissioning a pipe from a Scottish pipe maker.
Ooh.
Bought a couple of tins of Chacon 5 to break it in. Can't wait. Would love to have a look at that.
Yeah, have you got a name, Duncan, for that pipe maker?
Yeah, it'd be good to have a look if you've got something. You can stick some on the community post, maybe.
Yeah.
To have a look at. And we've got B Bud, who says perfect timing. Great to have you with us.
Bud, thanks for joining. Yeah, I know you mentioned that you'd like to join us for a live stream, so
Fantastic.
thank you for joining.
Great to have you with. So we've got some sherry on the go tonight that Harry's very, very generously brought round. Just sat down to smoke a pipe, listen to the Lord of the Rings audiobook.
Nice.
And on we pop. Thought we'd check the channel out and we're live. There we go. Look at
Excellent.
that. Kairos, as if it was meant to be, wasn't it? So just before we go into the Cobbs, I'm trying to get I have got my kids hook, line and sinker into Lord of the Rings. They're really, really, really into it. Yeah. So I've via The Hobbit.
Yeah.
So I read The Hobbit to my eldest and she loved it. And all three of them now really love the films. So the Lord of the Rings films, not the Hobbit films. I've not watched them with them yet. But yeah, I think it's a slow process because I want to kind of wean them into Lord of the Rings eventually. But obviously it's quite a tricky book to get into.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the first few chapters of Lord of the Rings, even for an adult reader, it's extremely dense, dense. And I've read it a few times, and I do. Sorry talking, but I do find the first few chapters a bit of a slog. But once they leave the Shire, it's like game on.
Yeah, for sure. So, Cobbs.
Yeah.
I think these are the secret weapon. I think these are a proper proper pipe smokers hidden little gem.
Yeah. So yeah, I firmly believe that every pipe smoker ought to have at least one, maybe a few more cobs
Yeah.
in his rotation.
What weight control good?
So the cob, I mean, when we're talking about cobs, we're generally talking about Missouri Meerschaum.
Right.
So Missouri Meerschaum is a pipe maker who's got the cob market cornered. There are other cob makers, and some are reputable. Some are from the Far East, which I do not recommend that you get. There's no reason not to get a Missouri Meerschaum. So they named Missouri Meerschaum because they were considered to behave a lot like Meerschaum.
Like Meerschaum, right.
I know that the cobs that they use were kind of engineered by, I think, the University in Missouri.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, which bred them to produce less kernels.
When was that? See, this is what universities should be doing.
Yeah.
Not golf course studies.
Pipe technology.
Pipe technology.
Yeah.
This is important.
I mean, of course, cob was being used as a pipe material much
Yeah,
prior
yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
You know, like you read Mark Twain
Right.
and Huckleberry Finn's
Yeah.
carving his own corncob pipe. But yeah, the modern pipes that we're getting, they have been engineered to have less kernel but much thicker core.
Yeah.
You know, so they can drill in there, make a bowl. And I believe it was a Dutchman in America who first discovered the properties of corncob for pipe smoking. But I mean, a lot like Meerschaum, right? Very cool smoke, quite a dry smoke as well. And just such a clean flavour.
Yeah.
No need to break in. No need for cake. You don't want cake in a cob. And yeah, so anything that you put in a cob, the flavour will come through so cleanly, and that's why it's good for aromatics.
Right.
It's why it's good for straight Virginias, because it'll take a lot of the bite out of the straight
Especially
Virginias.
those big tall bowl ones.
Yeah, exactly. It'll take a lot of bite out of the straight Virginias.
Yeah.
Burley is absolutely beautiful in a
great.
cob.
Yeah.
Just great.
General all-rounder, aren't
Just
they?
absolute all-rounder, and you can
For the money.
and for the money, so cheap.
Yeah.
So you can get a corn cob. The Country Gentleman is a firm favourite among many. That's a model of, and it's about £5.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Now these pipes are coming with plastic stems. Okay. Those stems, I don't love the feel of them on the old teeth.
Yeah.
In the old gob there.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to spring for a bit more, £20. So we're talking $25.
Yeah.
You can get an acrylic stem.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So I've got the Cobbett Shire. So there's a little church warden range, which is named after Lord of the Rings. I've got a emerald.
Yeah, that's nice. Like green lucite
it's got a nice
stem.
green lucite stem, and so fantastic smoke.
Great.
And you know when, so it's a good drinking pipe,
Right.
because when you've been drinking and your cadence is getting sloppy, you can smoke a cob and feel quite safe that the burn is not going to be there as much.
I call them the good time
Yeah,
girl.
the gumar.
The Gumar, right? Because it doesn't matter how shoddily you treat it.
Yeah.
Within reason. But you know, that can stop in your pipe rack and you don't touch it for months.
Yeah.
You pick it up, pack a bowl, and it'll look after it for you. It's a good smoke.
Yeah.
Straight
You
away.
can always be assured of a good smoke with a cob,
Yeah.
even if you've not packed the best.
Yeah.
You can always be assured of a
Very
good smoke.
forgiving.
And whenever you get a new blend and you want to get a sense for the subtleties and the nuances of the blend, put it in a cob first.
Right.
And probably Meerschaum is the same.
Yeah.
Put it in the old cob for sure, and you'll get a good sense of the nuances of the blend.
Yeah.
So really, not a lot of bad to say about the cob. I mean,
Shelf life. I've heard that they only last a certain amount of time.
yeah, so people say, but I mean,
I've had mine 2 years.
yeah, same.
No
and I think
problem.
if you treat them properly, I think maybe the reason that is something that people say is because people tend to treat their cobs
Yeah.
with a bit less care.
Like a cob.
Yeah. So you know, they're chucking it in their bag when they go
Yeah.
camping and when they go fishing and hiking, and
Yeah.
it gets knocked around a bit because they paid, $10 for it,
Yeah.
and so there's less care.
Yeah.
I imagine, but if you look after a corn cob, there's no reason why that can't last you a long time.
No, mine's been in the rack. Trim the cake back.
Yeah.
Swabbed out after every smoke.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine. I'm 2 years in. So we got a couple of comments. We've got so Highland Duncan says Jack Ryan pipes. Jack Ryan, was that not a character from?
Yeah.
Was
it John Grisham or?
It's something like that, or
Tom Clancy.
Tom Clancy. So Bud says he's just started the Two Towers audiobook. It's good. It's really good. So Bud's saying he's new to all the pipe smoking stuff. Just got his first Missouri Meerschaum corn cob from a local B&M.
Excellent.
Which is great. That's really good. So mostly been smoking aromatics out of it. Yeah, that's what I really got into smoking through aromatics.
Yeah.
And then you kind of red pilled me on a few other blends, but I still keep a few in. Autumn evening.
Yeah.
If you get chance, Bud, that is it's an aromatic, very sweet, good time of month. Now's the time, right? It's a fall smoke.
Absolutely.
But it's got real depth and real character as well. It's a well constructed tobacco.
And Bud, if I may presume to give you some advice, assuming you're in America, I'm guessing you are in the States. Take advantage of the excellent burley that you've got over there.
Yeah, for sure.
You've got JL Peretti over there, a bit of a burley specialist. You've got the Cornell and Deal blends.
Yeah, they're great.
With excellent burley.
Yeah.
You've got the Cobblestone. So take advantage of those. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Get a stock on. And the other thing as well, I would say, so Bud says Autumn Evening is amazing. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's a banger.
It's got Haunted Bookshop on at the minute. It's good. It's good. It's
very
nice. Try the OJK. If you like the Haunted Bookshop, I think you'll love the Old Joe Krantz.
Yeah, Bud, I've got the Old Joe Krantz on currently, which I'm sure you're bored of me saying now. It's the sister blend to Old Joe Krantz, swapping out the white burleys for the darker burleys. It makes a big difference, and depending on your taste, I think you'll like it more. Yeah. So try the Old Joe Krantz.
Try it. But yeah, I think that first kind of couple of months of smoking, I was trying a few different things out. Just my from my perspective only, it was really helpful when you said, "Oh, don't go out and buy packs yet. Go and order in some tasters,
samples.
Get some 10-gram samples.
Yeah. See
what you like, and you'll find a couple that you really like. Get yourself a couple of bowls. Get yourself a couple of jars. Jar the ones that you really like." And build yourself a bit of collection, and that's always stood me in good stead.
Yeah, I've got to say, just to make a small diversion, I don't know if the mic is picking it up, but it's pouring outside.
Yeah.
We've got some lazy jazz on right here. We're smoking pipes. Yeah. We're drinking Pedro Jimenez. This is peak comfy. This is extremely comfy.
I've even got my slippers. I'm not putting them on camera, but I've even got my slippers on. It's pipe and slippers.
I've got my dirty old man soles on.
And Harry's full on Hobbit.
Slightly coated.
But, bro, they've been on camera.
Yeah.
Bad boys on camera.
Watch the Bobby Flake review.
Right, yeah. Got Quentin Tarantino all over that. So it's all good. I think I'm a big fan of the cobs. So with it being, go on, man.
I was just going to say, just to go into a couple of cons of the cobs. So that stem is glued in there. Right. So that can come loose. But if you take care of it, again, probably not a big problem. The other thing to say is, I've already mentioned it with the plastic stems, but you can avoid that with just paying a little bit more for an acrylic stem, or putting a rubber bit on the plastic stem, and you can take away that feel on the teeth that I don't love. The other thing to say is, and it's not a big issue, but the shank is a hardwood dowel. And the way that they make it is, there's about quarter to half an inch of that dowel when you buy it new. There's about quarter to half inch of that dowel in that bowl now.
Yeah.
When you have your first few smokes, that burnt wood taste towards the bottom can come through. Don't be discouraged by that. That burns away. If you want, you can tamper with it and chisel it out. I don't recommend it just because of the but that goes away.
Mine caked up at the bottom, and I left the cake on it. So
Right.
just making sure that the draft hole was okay, and that there's like a channel that runs through on mine that goes into the bottom of the bowl.
Yeah.
As long as that's clear, the rest of it gets caked up quite nicely, and it covers that that quite sort of acidy, woody kind of smoky taste. So yeah, no, they're fair points, man. So, with it being autumn, and we're heading into the Halloween season. So
Do we want to do a couple more materials? I think there's
yes,
Briar.
yeah, of course. So tell us a bit about Briar. So first things first, what do we mean by Briar?
So when we're referring to Briar, obviously Briar is the gold standard of pipe. When you think of pipe and you think of the wooden pipe, it's a Briar pipe. It's made from the root of a certain shrub that grows in the Mediterranean, Italy, Greece, and certain parts of North Africa, I think, and I believe in France as well, actually. Although that's not Mediterranean, obviously, but and I believe it's a fairly new material. But I think we're talking 19th century, but it's quickly become the gold standard for pipes.
Yeah.
It's a tight-grained wood. It relatively cool. A beautiful grain on it when it's smooth and polished.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's durable. And
Carves nicely as well, I think.
yeah, it carves nicely, so you can get it smooth and rusticated.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's become the gold standard for a reason. It gives the flavour comes through cleanly. Briar lends its own taste to a certain extent when you compare it to like a cob or a clay. We'll go on to clay actually. Yeah, it's the gold standard for a reason.
There's a reason. Yeah, that's it. There's a reason why it's took off. And I think the other thing as well to say maybe about Briar is that there's a range. You know, yes, obviously you can spend lots and lots of money on a Dunhill or a very like fancy Savinelli.
Yeah.
You can pay upwards of whatever you want to pay. You can pay, but you can get a good Briar pipe for not as much money as you would probably think.
Case in point, this is a 25 quid pipe.
Right.
It's got a nice vulcanite stem. Fits lovely. It's caked up a tree, and you put a little bit of time into a cheap but well-made Briar, and you'll be having excellent smokes for years and years and years and years. Probably see you out.
Yeah. That's it. And look, if you really don't fancy spending a lot of money and you just want to try a couple of Briars out, you can always get a basket pipe.
Basket pipes.
Meaning,
You can get an excellent basket pipe.
when you go to a tobacconist,
Yeah.
they'll have a basket of seconds,
Yeah.
typically, on the counter now.
May have a couple of fills in them.
Right. So or it might be that they've that some of the holes aren't quite exactly bang on plumb centre, but not all the time. So I'll always have a look and ask if you've got a basket. You've got a basket with some seconds in. Sometimes they'll not be great. Like German makers or I think the last one I went to was the Polish and Czech. Yeah. But often you'll get some Italians in there. Peterson might send some. Savinelli might send some. You might get some really good quality seconds in that basket, and we're talking like 20 to 30 quid, aren't we? Sometimes for some of those seconds, and that can sometimes be quite a nice, easy route into. But I'm just in the opinion that so when I first picked it up, and you got me that Missouri Meerschaum, and I loved it, and I got a message from the guys at the Orthodox Pipe and Pint Facebook channel, Ellis Spear, and he said, "Oh, save a bit of money, get yourself a nice Briar."
Yeah.
So I just went and got like pretty much the cheapest one I could get, but it was a reputable brand and a good name and well made. I went for the Peterson Aaron and loved it.
Got one myself.
And it always sits in my rack now.
Nice pipe that.
So that's all good. So we've got a couple more comments. We've got so Bud says yes, he's in the States. Give it a go. See how you get on with that one. He's got a couple of 1-hour samples of a load of different blends. So
Nice.
so yeah, I think that's the way to go. Is it worth looking at the OG?
Yeah. I want to talk about. I think before we leave the subject, I want to talk about clay, and I want to talk about mortar.
Yeah, mortar.
Yeah, and I also want to give a shout to olive.
Okay.
But let's talk about clay.
Okay. The OG, the daddy, right? So, pipe clay. Here we go. what's made this so obviously like, it's made out of clay, right? Particular type of clay, so it'd be like it's not quite sort of porcelain clay, but it's very pale.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not dead sure on the particular kind of clay. I'm not sure about the mineral content, but when we think, just to go on a slight diversion, when we think about Gandalf, we think about him smoking a long wooden church warden.
Yeah.
If we read The Hobbit, we know that he actually smokes a short clay pipe.
Yeah.
So, talking, going back to 16th, 17th century, when tobacco becomes popular in England and Europe,
Yeah.
these guys in the taverns, they're smoking clay pipes.
Right.
Briar isn't a thing yet.
Right. Rented.
Right, yeah. So there's a great video. Pathé, they
Yeah.
have these old archived
That's right.
little footage. If you go on YouTube and you search for The Old Inn, I believe it's 1953, British Pathé, there's a lovely, so charming little video
Yeah.
about this this inn. And it must have been in the 50s, but it looks like it's in the 1600s.
That's so based.
Yeah, and so it's keeping a lot of the tradition. So they make mulled ale and jugged hare, which is like a rabbit stew.
Yeah.
But one of the traditions that they kept alive at that time was the tavern would have a rack of clay church wardens.
Yeah.
And you would pay, I don't know,
Threepence.
yeah, a
A
shilling.
groat.
Yeah. And what that would get you is the use of the pipe for tonight and a bit of smoke,
Yeah.
and you'd enjoy your smoke with your mulled ale or whatever.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the night, the tavern keep takes the pipes, puts them in the dying embers of the fire. That cleans them out,
Yeah.
sterilizes them,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're good for the next day.
Yeah.
Such a
so
charming,
cool.
yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah.
So in terms of construction, they're just really very, very straightforward,
Yeah.
aren't they? It's a tube.
Yeah,
It's a tube and a bowl with at the end of it. So this is a repro. So Harry very kindly told my missus what to buy me for the birthday. So it was for anniversary, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And and so in this we've got there's a little catch pit there to catch some of the stuff. This is a repro of the I want to say 17th century Jamestown.
Jamestown, I believe. Yeah.
Design. So yeah, good US, good US.
Yeah.
US version there. So not like very, very cute little thin bowl. It's got just a little bit of decoration around the top end, but generally quite sort of plain. Packs in nicely, very unfussy. No cake. Dumps out heat.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Very, very dry smoke. This is as
very
cool
dry.
as it gets,
Very
isn't it?
dry. The bowl does get hot,
Yeah.
however, so you tend to want to
Stem.
hold the stem a bit like a cigarette or something.
Right.
I've told this story before, but my first pipe was a clay pipe. I wanted to try out pipe smoking. It was a Father's Day gift, and I kind of picked out what I wanted. And I saw that the clay pipes were £5, and I thought you can't go wrong
Go
for that.
for it. Yeah.
And I got some remnant stock of Pollux clay pipes, which they don't make anymore, an English manufacturer. But yeah,
You're lucky to get that, actually.
yeah, because they're running out. Very cool, very clean. Thank you, man. But the cons to say, fragile again.
Yeah. Yeah. This stays away from the kids.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not something you would want to put in your pocket or in the bag and go for a hike. So in England, in certain spots like in the rivers, it's quite common to find old stems and old bowls.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, from the old guys that were working, get out the clay pipe, but they break fairly easily.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's it. So it stays in my rack, but because of how transparent it is, there's no caking involved. No issues with the with the stem because that's all porous as well. So if I want to try a new blend out and see what does this really taste like,
yeah,
it'll go in here.
absolutely. Yeah, it's good for testing. Yeah.
So one con, clenching.
Yeah.
Not great for
That's the other
clenching.
thing.
But I figured out a way because I wanted to put a stop, a softy bit on the end there, a rubber bit to hold it in my teeth. And I looked at it and thought, well, it's a nice thing that I don't really want to kind of ruin the aesthetic of it. So what could I do? So I ended up just getting some jute string and whipped it just around the end, and that clenches up a treat now. And the other good thing about that is that absorbs a little bit of dottle. So any kind of and spad, which I mean slobber, it's not just dottle. I'm quite a slobbery smoker.
Yeah, the con about that is that it gets wet.
It does.
The twine gets wet.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's okay. It's done the trick.
Right, I'm moving on to the Old Burley Flame.
Well, as you are, telling me all about mortar.
Yeah, so
As in lime and mortar?
no, so
Okay.
it's MORTA, no R on the end, mortar.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So otherwise known as bog oak or
Right.
petrified oak.
Oh,
So I got myself a mortar pipe. It was made by Chacon,
Okay.
and it's a gorgeous pipe. Mortar is a very unique looking kind of wood. It's black.
Yeah.
It's kind of very dark brown to black. And
Almost
it's,
like kind of ebony.
yeah, and it's got a distinct grain to it. So looking into mortar, so it's the most expensive pipe I got, and it was the first
Right.
3 figures pipe that I ever bought. And I was told that it was, someone described it as a luxury cob. So it's got very cool and very clean kind of flavours. That's what I was told. Now,
Yeah.
I bought this pipe and I smoked the pipe. And unfortunately, what I found was that it tended to dull flavours down. So I remember,
What's cream?
so I remember smoking some of my favourite Burleys in there, and I just found that it was like putting a grey filter.
Yeah.
If you imagine-
yeah.
If you imagine putting a black and white filter over a photo, that was
Yeah.
sort of what it did
Yeah.
to the blends. So unfortunately, I can't give a glowing recommendation to the mortar that I have.
It wasn't like you got a cheap one. It's like, oh, it's not quite right. You paid decent money.
Yeah,
It's a reputable maker.
And gorgeous pipe,
Yeah.
beautiful acrylic stem, sort of mottled,
Yeah.
caramel colour kind of stem, and it's a silver, not actual silver, but silver ferrule band on it, and it's a gorgeous pipe. It's a lovely kind of chubby apple, kind of a diplomat shape. But unfortunately for me, smokes clean, cool. No, smokes cool and dry.
Yeah.
For sure. Less temperamental than Briar. But unfortunately, when it comes to flavour, which is the main component, let's face it, of pipe smoking, I felt like it let me down.
What a crime.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Got a couple more comments. So, Duncan says, never smoked clay pipes on the list. Honestly, I can't recommend them enough. I think it's a really good pipe to have in the pipe rack. Not a lot of money either, really.
No.
You can get one for fairly reasonable, for fairly little money. Small bowl, yes. Reckon a simple blend. Yeah, although again, I've smoked all sorts in that. So I tried Autumn Evening out because I really wanted to get the full whack of that jammy,
Yeah.
to the tasty aromatic, and it was great. So, but I mean, it's a little burley. Oh man, Burleys are great in clay, and I find it just really looks after them.
English blends too, Latakia.
Right.
Very nice.
Yeah. I was thinking the nightcap as well, the Peterson nightcap. It's got Paul England on. Good name.
Yes.
Good name. Two good names.
Welcome, Paul.
Welcome. His first Briar, Morgan Bones, straight bulldog.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not getting the Morgan Bones pipes.
No.
You know, they're sort of like they're not stained. They're like
Oh,
they're
okay.
kind of like naked, and
Yeah, cool.
they take up the they colour over time like a mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing to mention is that mine's starting to change colour already. It's developed like this red, sort of dusky pink red hue around the bowl, and you see like all the old guys' pipes. I remember seeing Lee Van Cleef's Meerschaum pipe, and it kind of develops this gorgeous looking stain, like natural stain that kind of develops from the top down. Looks so cool.
Yeah.
So, thanks for that, bro. In terms of the materials, any other? I think that's covered the majority, hasn't it?
Just to give a quick shout out to olive wood. Now,
Right.
neither of us have an olive wood pipe. Neither of us have smoked olive, but I do know that it's somewhat traditional in Greece.
Yeah.
Smoking olive wood pipe. I know we've had a Greek fellow in the chat before, so I wonder if there's anybody who has an olive wood pipe that can, speak to that. I hear it tends to crack,
Right.
but I don't
More
know.
abundant, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure like in that part of the world,
Yeah.
it's easy to come by.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the way it performs. But I'd be interested to hear that if anybody can clue us in on that.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, maybe the next trip to back over to the Med.
Yeah,
let's try and pick one. So in terms of sort of stuff that I've been watching and reading and listening to, so on Harry's recommendation, I started getting into Lovecraft over the last kind of few weeks.
Yeah.
And man, that cray.
Yeah.
That's wild. Not only is it like, because I'm a big 40k fan, I love my kind of sort of dark sort of sci-fi fantasy stuff. This is like, it's the OG of dark fantasy stuff. It's really, really like body horror and like fate, like sort of space horror and that is, and yeah, it's great. It's just very, very, very well written. Really, really well written. Very unique kind of author.
Yeah, and I don't know if you'd agree with me, but I don't think it's too bold to say that Lovecraft is to horror what Tolkien is to fantasy.
Bro, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. The amount of stuff that I've seen, I'm like, oh, that's like 40k. Like, the amount of stuff that this guy has inspired, it's crazy. I've seen it everywhere. So yeah, that's absolutely right. And not just that, but these great analogy with Tolkien, because it's not just about a story, a good story, a cool story, well written. There's a mythos. There's a telos behind this stuff. There's a world in which these things inhabit, and it's pretty bleak as well, because
it's extremely bleak.
Yeah, because it's like, well, there's not really any stopping them.
No.
We know there is. But this, the way that he kind of draws a reader in. So I read a couple of the stories that you got me on. So definitely Call of Cthulhu. Get that read, get that listened to.
Yeah,
did so.
It's like the cornerstone of the mythos, really.
Right, and it kind of opens the door for you to the other books. But the one that really nailed it for me was Shadow over Innsmouth, and that's wild. And he gets you in the very first couple of chapters with, they look a bit funny around here, don't they?
Yeah.
So that's like chapter 2, and then like by the end of the book, you're like, these guys are fish. It's like you want it to reel these guys in. Like I got one tonight. Yeah, it's absolutely wild. It pays a lot of attention to the way that people look.
Yeah, a little bit of the physiognomy.
There's a bit going on there. Very based. Very. What's really cool about it is the way that he writes. There's a lot of him that comes through the work. I don't want to spoil it if anybody hasn't listened to any or read any. It's based around the concept of these like dark deities called the Old Ones, or the Great Old Ones.
Yeah.
But the one that with Shadow over Innsmouth is about the Deep Ones, which are people like fish people that live off the shore in this dark reef. We call it the Devil's Reef.
Yeah.
And there's things that live down there which are older than old. These things are ancient. They precede animals and species on the planet.
Yeah. So when you read Lovecraft for a bit, you see that essentially what Lovecraftian horror is about is the encounter with the strange, but not just the strange, but the destabilizing strange.
Yes.
The incomprehensible, maddening strange.
Things that are recognisable, but displaced. They're in the wrong place. Right. Things that are jammed together weirdly.
Yeah.
Things that don't add up. The architecture doesn't add up to 180. The triangles don't add up to 180 degrees.
Right. So he talks a lot about non-Euclidean geometry. So that's mentioned in the Call of Cthulhu when the submerged city of R'lyeh for a brief period becomes above ground, and the Norwegian sailor and his crew are kind of exploring it, and nothing adds up.
Yeah.
Impossible vistas, he describes it. So Cthulhu, kind of as shorthand for the strange, he goes to two extremes. He goes to space in some examples, and in the other extreme he goes to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of short stories. One's called Dagon or Dagon. So Dagon or Dagon, I'm going to say Dagon, is a fish deity actually mentioned in the Old Testament.
Wow.
So, you know, the some of the tribes in the what would it have been then? Judea and Samaria were worshipping this fish deity, right? So and there is a short story called Dagon of an encounter of this guy who's stranded from his boat, and he's kind of adrift in a rowboat for days, and he encounters Dagon.
He wakes up, doesn't he?
Yeah, and there's another called the Doom that came to Sarnath, and it's all about this kind of like underwater fish people's city, and about this kind of like genocide and this cataclysmic event that happens to those guys, and then we kind of see a bit of the culmination of those in Shadow over Innsmouth, because it's it's set in the present, and it's about this guy's encounter with the town that's got a secret. And the way that it's built up is masterful.
Yeah. All the doors and windows are shutted up.
Right.
Not just like the doors are locked. It's like all the walls that the windows are boarded.
Yeah.
But yet you can hear stuff inside them, and these really weird, non-human sounds that are coming out of it.
Yeah.
The other thing I really liked about Shadow over Innsmouth is the way that some of him comes through it as well as in Lovecraft himself. Apparently, he had like the world's worst diet, and he just ate crap everywhere he went. And he said, like, I had a meagre meal of crackers and cheese and some ginger wafers.
Just a lot of carbs, to be honest.
Just
a lot of carbs.
Total carb load. It's no wonder he went crackers. And then he said he spoke to one of the guys in the at the harbour, and he was impressed that he tried to travel somewhere by the cheapest means possible. That was totally him. He would just go like bargain basement as cheap as possible and try and travel around. So I thought that was quite cool. But yes, I listened to Dagon actually last night, and the ending for that is wild.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I love, the way that his stories, even his short stories, have got this really cool development arc. Like, it'll get you in the first half. It's almost, he's kind of telling you a story. It's very descriptive. It looks like this. It smells like this. These things are happening. That's a bit weird. Then that's a bit weird turns into like Ninth Circle of Hell by the time you've finished, and it doesn't. And the way that it develops it is very, very good. Yeah, very, very good.
So, if I remember rightly, at the end of Dagon, the narrator decides to check out, right? Because it's just too much.
Right.
So that's a common theme.
It's hinted that he's here. He's trying to get
out. Yeah. So the common theme in Lovecraft is that the encounter with the strange, the intrusion of the unfathomably strange into the human life, leaves the person either dead or mad, unable to recover from it. So the Call of Cthulhu is, if you're not familiar with Lovecraft, is I think the best place to start. Not a long read.
Most of these I found like there's some really good audio dramas that are made of these on YouTube as well. You can pick up.
Yeah.
I thought were really cool.
Yeah, exactly, because Lovecraft is in the public domain now. So,
yeah, he's old enough, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So there's a great short story called The Silver Key, and it's about the narrator's. He's describing his, I want to say, uncle or grandfather, and about the strange kind of alternate life that he lived in his dreams, and obviously like Howard himself had an active dream life.
Yeah.
So
I thought that just speaking about the narration as well. That, obviously, like most books that are sort of written in that style have got a narrator, and the narrator might be an unreliable narrator. But the way that the story and the narrator interact, I think, is really cool. And that was really prevalent in Shadow over Innsmouth. That towards the end of the book, it becomes less about the town and more about the narrator. That the effects of what the narrator has seen and experienced, he takes back with him. And then it starts to. There's a twist at the end, which again I won't spoil. But that the narrator is key to this whole mythos himself. He's not just a spectator; he's a participant.
Yeah, exactly. And I think almost all of the Lovecraft stories are from the first person, because it's. These stories are like, they're all about the internal experience of what happens when you encounter these entities and these events that are just so utterly destabilizing.
Yeah.
You know,
like jarring.
Right, yeah. From a third-person perspective, you couldn't get that as much.
No, that's a fair point.
Rats in the Walls is a firm favourite.
That's
of
the
mine.
next one.
The Rats in the Walls.
That's the next one. It's slated.
That's a banger. That is a banger.
Yeah. Rats in the Wall and so I listened to them, and I've got another one as well. I'll check it. But Rats in the Wall's the next one, so we'll maybe get that one on the next cast.
Yeah. But just to go on from Lovecraft, so like I said earlier, Lovecraft is to horror. I believe Lovecraft is to horror what J.R.R. Tolkien is to fantasy. So whenever you watch a fantasy film or you're reading fantasy novels, the fingerprints of Tolkien are there, and it's the same with like a lot of horror stuff. So you remember Eternal Darkness, don't you? So that was a game that came out for the GameCube, I believe, in the early 2000s.
Right.
And it was all about this book, and you collect chapters of the book and you play out the chapters.
That's right.
And they're all about these characters' encounters with something like these old gods. That just leave the...
From the narrator's perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That leave the player insane. Now, recently, I got some videos in my recommended that were about this game called Fear and Hunger, right? And I just watched it on a whim, and I really got into it, and I ended up buying the game on Steam. It was about £7 or £8.
Yeah.
So the art style is like, you know, like an old arcade dungeon crawler.
Yeah.
And it's an RPG. So you can choose certain classes like Knight and Dark Priest and Mercenary stuff. And the story is that you need to go into this dungeon, the Dungeon of Fear and Hunger, to save this character.
Yeah.
Once you go in, it quickly descends into like a Lovecraftian nightmare. So it's like a survival horror.
Yeah.
So every combat encounter you have has a high chance that you lose a limb or die.
Wow.
And whenever you die, you have to start again from the start.
Wow.
And you've got like a sanity meter, a mind meter,
Right.
you've got a health
Like
meter,
Eternal
and a hunger meter. Yeah. So you have to make sure that you're eating food to stave off the hunger so you don't become weak.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have to keep up your health points. And there's the mind meter, which is decreased by being in like scary events or like being in the dark and stuff. And one of the ways to replenish the mind meter is to indulge in vices. So have a beer or smoke some tobacco.
That's
and
it.
that brings it back.
That's how we do it.
But it's a banger of a game, and I'll be honest. I think both of us grew up playing video games, and then at a certain point you leave that stuff behind.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I recommend that young men in particular, are spending a lot of time on. However, for whatever reason, I got into this. And
it's a good distraction.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. So I thought it'd be good to just touch on Silence. We watched it last time, so we'll go through some things. So we've gone through Lovecraft, which is he's a bit on the naughty side, but it'd be good to kind of look at something maybe a bit more wholesome. So I'm a big Scorsese fan. You're a big Scorsese fan.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, the story is about two Japanese priests that go... sorry, I beg your pardon. Portuguese Jesuit priests that go over to Japan, or the Japans as they were then, to go and find a priest who they've been in contact with, who've gone out to do some missionary work over in Japan, and they'd lost contact with him. And it's all about their experience with the Japanese authorities, and the villagers, and these little pockets of Christianity that had set up around Japan, and the trials, and I mean that in every sense of the word, the tribulations that they go through.
So this is a time in history. There's a name for it. I can't remember what it is, but Christianity was under intense persecution in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So Japan by this point is a Buddhist country, and they're really cracking down on these small these budding Christian communities.
Yeah.
They see it as a threat to the stability and unity in Japan.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson plays the Father Ferreira, who has gone over there, and the opening scene is Father Ferreira, Liam Neeson, and he's watching his fellow priests kind of crucified. They put on these stakes, and the Japanese are taking these like sieves full of like hot spring boiling water and just dousing the priests.
Yeah.
And in his narration, he says that they've asked for this.
Yeah.
So
it's wild, like the torments that they go through. There's some interesting characters in that. There's a local who is Christian, and he's really pleased when the priests come and he gets communion and he makes confessions. That's right, Kichijiro, and he makes a confession. But he's also been giving information to, they call them the Inquisitors, don't they? The local guys who have been who are in charge of the kind of spiritual and sort of secular leadership. They kind of they kind of rule the town, and he ends up doing the same to these priests. He ends up giving them up, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But all the way along through the film, he keeps asking for their forgiveness.
Yeah.
And he kind of lowers himself every time you see him. He's right on his knees, he's on the floor, begging and crying for forgiveness.
So Kichijiro is like a pretty clear Judas figure.
Yeah.
But not only is he a Judas figure, he's a repeat Judas figure.
Right.
He's loathsome, a wretch.
Yeah.
But even by the end, even he receives redemption.
Right. Because he says sorry.
Yeah.
Because he realises he doesn't just go off himself like Judas did.
Right.
He asks for forgiveness. He asks for the sacrament of confession.
So we see in the Gospels that what Judas and what Saint Peter do are not entirely dissimilar.
Right.
So obviously Judas hands over Christ the authorities, which is, unforgivable.
Yeah.
But what Saint Peter denies him.
Yeah. Yeah.
3 times.
3 times.
And he's racked with guilt by this.
Right.
But by the time of Acts, when Christ comes as a stranger, and he's, there's the episode with the fish.
Right.
And then they sit down to eat a meal together, and by this point, Peter knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And Jesus asks Peter 3 times, "Do you love me?"
Yeah.
He's cancelling out the denials.
Yeah.
And Saint Peter says, "Yeah, of course,
yeah,
of course." And he's repented,
mm-hmm.
and he's asked forgiveness. And obviously, Saint Peter goes on to bear his own cross, literally.
Yeah, literally.
So that's the key distinction between Judas and Saint Peter, and that's a model. That's a model for Christians.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was an interesting way that they played on that with Kichijiro, and there were other good little stories within that. I think it's a story that hangs together anyway. Beautifully shot, really, really beautifully shot. Very, very sensitive and of the area. You can tell that Scorsese really loves the environment that he's shooting. It's very beautiful. It's very lush, very unspoiled. But the way that the priests interact with each other and their kind of story between each other, and the way that Adam Driver's his kind of priest's story arc goes, they kind of diverge and then they kind of converge again. It's just a really clever film, and actually, to a large extent, although it kind of comes across as a bit bleak at times, I thought it gave me definitely a bit of a shot in the arm spiritually. These guys they're doing it.
Yeah, because I think one of the main themes, not the only theme, but one of the central themes of the film is that it's about this dichotomy between spirit and letter. So, and it plays out in, is it okay to outwardly apostatize?
Yeah.
To save lives,
Mm-hmm.
Is there a point where hanging on to the faith in some way actually subverts the faith itself? And so Adam Driver's priest is pretty hard line on this. He's like, there's no occasion in which it's okay to apostatize. And Andrew Garfield's character tells the Japanese Christians that because these Christians are being expected to publicly denounce the faith, and he's saying that if it saves lives, do it.
Do it, yeah. Very interesting, very deep theological questions and spiritual questions. But yeah, it was a great film. I really enjoyed it.
And not to give any spoilers, but the ender for me, the ending is a banger. Just when that voice comes in, and the soundtrack cuts out. It's just it like chokes me every time.
Great film.
Yeah.
So it'd be good to. I we will try and squeeze in a couple more Scorseses. I think. That'd be
Yeah,
good
well,
to
he's
do.
just dropped a new one.
Right.
Moon of the Killer, Flower of the Killer Moon,
Yeah.
a western. So I think we should go and see that for
That's a
sure.
good shout. Yeah.
And Johnny's even said that he might be down
Oh,
for
that's
that.
good. Yeah, we'll do that. Sticks as well. Sticks and some bourbon.
Mm.
Got a couple of comments. So, Buddy says off topic wants to say thanks for introducing us to introducing him to Snuff. We're gonna have a pinch in a minute.
Yeah.
I've managed to find a tin of Jock's Choice. Yes. So that's going down in a sec. So we've got so there's weird comments. I'm supposed to say hello, Simply Win. He's missed what they were smoking. He's got some haunted bookshop. That's all good.
Nice.
Yeah. So we've got Simply Win on with us tonight.
Welcome,
Just join the chat. What are we smoking? So we've got. I've got some 1931 Peter Stockerby Flake in my new Meerschaum Bowl Falcon. And H, you've got
I've got the Cornell and Deals Burley Flake number 1.
one.
Beautiful. It's my favourite. I'm smoking it every day lately. Can't get enough. It's a firm favourite.
We've got Matt Barnett on again. Great to see you.
Welcome, Matt.
And Kelly's World, still afternoon here in Phoenix, Arizona. Join us
Oh.
later. God bless, brother.
God bless, bro.
Phoenix, Arizona. That's Sean Atwood country.
Oh,
Is
really?
Arizona, yeah. Love his channel. Yeah, English Sean. He's got his own redemption arc.
Yeah.
bit of a mad lad. Loved his partying like I did, and is kind of
Mellowed out.
mellowed, a bit like me as well. So yeah, that was really good. So in terms of kind of going forward for next time, then we're going to try and make these a bit more regular. That's kind of been a bit on me as well. Life getting in the way, but I'm going to try and kick life back where it belongs and do this again because it's great and I love it. And winter coming up, autumn coming up, wet weather. We want to be inside having a smoke and sharing it with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your birthday has been and gone, but your name day for old calendar's coming up.
Well, it's
So-
gone, man.
Well, I checked, and it was
Yeah.
13 days after, so we do celebrate it, at least on our calendar. We've got you in for next week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's 13 days after, so I'm planning on a little sort of mini feast for that. I think we go for steaks, sticks, and bourbon. I think for that, and maybe casino, and I'll cook for us.
Absolutely.
So it'd be good to kind of get a little bit of that on. Matt says he likes the Sam Gowith Elmos.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
I've not tried that.
No, I haven't. That's not.
Just before we wrap up, can you tell us about that, Matt? What's that? Because I've never tried that.
No, that's not one I'm familiar with. And we've had most Gowiths,
Yeah,
haven't we?
I would say so.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting to take a look at. She likes it, but it's kind of strange. That might be good in keeping with the strange and wonderful, like Lovecraft. Yeah. But yeah, so we've got some more stuff that we want to go into. We're gonna kind of Harry and I are gonna kind of go away over the next kind of few weeks and just kind of work out, maybe sketch out 4 or 5 videos that we think might be good.
Yeah.
Some more content. So the lighter one went down quite well, so it'd be good to maybe kind of go through a few of those. Maybe some reviews, different.
Yeah, we need
tobaccos.
to get back to the reviews. Yeah.
That'd be good. And we've got, we're going to go for some films as well. So we've got the Giallos that'd be good. Suspiria, be quite nice to shoehorn in. I've got Barbarian Sound Studio, which is a film about making Giallo films, and especially from like the sound recordist perspective.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to look at The Shining because you can't discuss horror without The Shining.
Wild.
Kubrick,
Wild film.
all the theories surrounding that. I mean, there's probably like 2 hours in that
Yeah,
at least.
for sure.
At least.
It's Snuff.
Ah, right, got you.
Snuff.
Got you.
Hey. I didn't know even though they did Snuff, so that's interesting.
Yeah, Garth the Snuffs, yeah.
It's Elmo's Reserve. It's meant to be almond flavour, which really smelled like a pet shop.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, I'll maybe take a look at that. I might even get a tin, see how it goes.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, I am all about this Jock's Choice. We're going to have a little pinch in a minute.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Like orangey, kind of bergamoty.
Yeah.
Very strong. Very strong. It's very fine as well, so it gets right up the old Uta.
And Matt, if you can get it over in Poland, I've got Tom Buck's, Wilson's of Sharrows. If you can get Wilson's of Sharrows,
right.
excellent.
Tom Buck, Grant Cairo, Kendall Brown.
Not great at replying to emails, but they make great snuff. So
yeah, 100%. So Bud says he finds a hard time finding snuff locally. That is a real shame. Might well be worth Maybe we'll take a look at some links and see if we can find you some suppliers
Yeah.
stateside that might do the job for you.
So, as I understand it, snuff is pretty much an English and German
Right.
thing. So, I know...
weather, right?
Yeah, so I know obviously in America you can get dip. We can't get dip over here.
Yeah.
Can't get snus either. I
No,
don't think you can sell it outside of Sweden if I'm right. If I'm right, but
Wait, it makes its way in.
It does, yeah.
So, yeah. And Bud says, before we take off, is there a Discord? We have actually got a Discord.
there is a Discord.
So
Yeah.
perhaps that's not a bad way of keeping things ticking between videos.
Yeah, so it's pretty empty at the minute. But to be fair, we've kind of neglected it as well. But we would like to get a community going.
Yeah.
Because something that comes up a lot is that people say that it's great that you two have got each other to smoke with, and we would love it if we could create an online community of pipe smokers that can talk and hang out, smoke together.
Yeah.
But we would hope that these online communities can blossom into some actual communities, so you can find smokers in Phoenix, Arizona, Poland, wherever you are, Matt. Wherever you are, and build these communities.
Right, it's a good shout. And also, it means we can have, we can get stuff on.
Yeah.
While we're, get the Discord and take a couple of pics and
exactly post
get a
news.
drink on. That's it. Yeah. It's all about the news. It's all about the news. So Matt says, yeah, snuff's good in Poland. They love snuff.
Oh, good stuff. I mean, it's on the border with Germany,
Yeah,
so.
right.
But what we will do is we will have to pin the Discord in the comments. So and join if you want to.
Yeah.
The other thing to say is, before we head out, we are on 499 subscribers. So neither of us normally say this, but just for the ego boost, if you can get us to 500,
right,
that would be great.
It would.
So if you know somebody that you think would like us, just give us a share.
I like the way that, because I hate it when I hear this stuff on YouTube, but I like the way that Dankula does his. It's like, please leave a like, because it really helps the algorithm.
Yeah, let's boost that algo, guys.
Yeah.
But no, if we can make it to 500, that would be great.
We'll do a 500 special as well.
Yeah.
I'll probably buy a new pipe.
Yeah, probably have to buy a new pipe for that. Yeah.
We'll do some unboxing. Bro, absolute pleasure tonight.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. Guys, thanks for joining on with us as well.
Thank you
really
as always.
Good. Liam Walker on there. Sorry I didn't get to see you there, Liam, but great to have you with us. So yeah, we'll get some more content up. We'll start posting a few more stuff in the Discord. We'll link that up in the description. And we'll see you guys on the next